Alright, so today I wanted to talk about the simple topic of what happened to the Studio Series. I'm going to take a brief look at the Transformers Studio Series toy line over the past 4 years and kind of go into what I feel like has been some issues with it, whether that be the selection of characters and figures available, or what seems to be a lack of interest in the line from Hasbro themselves. Alright, so Studio Series started in 2018, and it had some absolutely fantastic opening waves of figures. The line is all about characters from the live action movies, so it obviously includes the 5 Michael Bay movies and the Bumblebee movie, although starting in 2020 it will start including figures from the 1986 Transformers animated movie, with the idea that it means figures from any theatrically released Transformers film. We first got leaks about the line in 2017. It was officially revealed at Toy Fair in 2018, where you could order the first wave deluxes and get them sent to you early. Everything was Michael Bay film inspired until the end of 2018 when we got some of the Bumblebee movie stuff. One of the biggest reveals came in, I believe, October of 2018, when we saw that they were doing the Constructicons that would all combine and form into Devastator. That was super exciting, and it is in a lot of ways sort of the high point, like the centerpiece of the Studio Series. It was going strong, and then around, I believe it was June of 2020, we started getting leaked listings and stuff for stuff from what it was saying was 86, meaning the 1986 movie. And a lot of people, including myself, weren't too happy to hear about that, just because it was yet another thing of Transformers going to G1, and everything in the franchise right now is just so G1 and has been for a few years now, and it's just getting stale and old. And honestly, that's something I've been wanting to kind of cover in a separate video. Hopefully I'll get to that at some point. At the time, there was the ongoing War for Cybertron trilogy with Siege, Earthrise, and then Kingdom, and it was just funny how, aside from like Cyberverse, the one line that wasn't G1 based decided to bring more G1 stuff into it, with apparently the reasoning being that a lot of the Studio Series 86 stuff was stuff that was meant to be in Kingdom and maybe even Earthrise, but there was so much of it they had to push it into a different line or something along those lines. I just know that they were apparently supposed to be in the War for Cybertron trilogy, but they just didn't fit in for some reason. I think even because of Kingdom starting to lean into the Beast Wars stuff. So that's kind of where it started to be a little iffy. Granted, by this point in 2020, we had already gotten a lot of the cast of the 5 Michael Bay movies covered. A lot of characters from Age of Extinction and especially The Last Knight weren't covered, but by this point, most stuff from the 2007 movie, Revenge of the Fallen, and Dark of the Moon was pretty well covered. So obviously you could make the argument that they were bringing in extra stuff to help pad out the line, which is totally fine, and that they were running out of live action characters, even though you still had, like, say, the Fallen from Revenge of the Fallen, the main villain, the twins, even though they're still kind of iffy just because of the unwarranted controversy surrounding them. Then other stuff like Galvatron, they only did Grimlock in the very first wave of Studio Series back in 2018, and none of the other Age of Extinction Dinobots, that being Strafe, Slug, and Scorn. But yet at the start of 2021 we got Studio Series 86 Grimlock, and then in the last half of the year we got Studio Series 86 Slug, and it's already been revealed during the Fan First Friday on February 4th this year that there's going to be Sludge. So in just a little over a year, whether released or announced, there's already been 3 of the G1 Dinobots, but yet 4 years have passed and there's only Grimlock. Although some leaks from people have said that at the very least Strafe and Slug are happening. And keep in mind too, this was after Power of the Primes 3 years previously did a full set of G1 Dinobots. Now I know that set wasn't everyone's cup of tea, especially with the whole combiner gimmick. They had some sacrifices, but still, they did a full G1 Dinobot set. And now they're going back to doing another G1 Dinobot set. Granted, these are also a bit more cartoon accurate, but still. Whereas again, in the same time frame, there's only been one movie Dinobot. So much for what Hasbro said about actually completing teams from now on. Plus, there's just the fact that they still have a good bit of the cast to do from Age of Extinction and The Last Knight, whether it's updated molds for characters like Crosshairs or somebody, or just characters that never got a figure, like Mohawk, Onslaught, and all those guys. And they have even acknowledged it was some sort of Q&A stream thing, I believe it was, but they even acknowledged that they still had a good bit to do. So why delay it all just to add more G1 to everything? And now my biggest thing with Studio Series is the fact that, and this became very apparent in 2020, it's just what has been the lack of reveals, or at least any excitement from Hasbro. Because I feel like through 2018 and 2019, it had pretty consistent reveals, even though it was a bit more normal with Toy Fair and all that kind of stuff, various toy shows. Thanks to, the state of the world at the time and stuff still going on today, a lot of that stuff is being skipped over. They started doing the Fan First Fridays, but the only thing is they have been leaning very heavily towards G1. The only time I can really think of them having any sort of Studio Series stuff, live action wise at the very least, quote unquote, revealing the Revenge of the Fallen Grindor figure and Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee on, I think it was called like Studio Series Sunday or something along those lines. And honestly, that Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee barely even counts because it had already been released in the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line at the start of 2021. Like, I bought that figure, I believe, within the first week of January 2021. I don't even remember if Jolt, who's a part of the same wave, even got a reveal. I just remember he was leaked early and then people just started to get him. And then what I feel like is the biggest insult of all was just how Studio Series Sideswipe was handled. Because he got leaked, got released in stores. Like, I found him in either the first or maybe second weekend of October of 2021. Just found him in stores. There he was at Walmart, and a lot of people were finding him early, and he wasn't officially acknowledged by Hasbro until I want to say it was maybe mid to late October, again 2021, and it just had a badly photoshopped image being like, here's Studio Series Sideswipe, even though most people that wanted him had him already. And then again, just the fact that no one could look at the picture and say, hey, this doesn't look that great. Obviously the line still has a lot of care by the designers, because I'm someone who doesn't think that Studio Series has had a genuinely bad figure. There are certainly some that are better than others, and some of them are fairly weak, but just in terms of an outright bad or terrible figure, I don't think Studio Series has had one. Something like, say, Car Shatter might be kind of close though. But it's just like, in terms of promoting it, especially now, everything just seems to lean so heavily towards G1. I mean, they will have Studio Series 86 reveals just fine, and then they've revealed the Bumblebee movie stuff that's in this Studio Series, like Wheeljack, Brawn, Ratchet, Ironhide, RC, but even then, the designs are obviously stylized, but they're still pretty heavily G1 based, so not all live action stuff is being ignored. But then, when it comes to the base stuff, it's kind of like, oh yeah, there's that. We're supposed to get the Fallen this year, and I am so damn excited for it, but I'm not really expecting anything big, and I unfortunately got my hopes up for the Fallen during that last Fans First Friday for Transformers, and was obviously very disappointed. That whole thing was just lame in general, because a lot of it was just stuff we already knew, and not even really because of leaks, like some people want to blame them on people who get figures early and all that dumb stuff. This is stuff that people are already finding in stores, like the Buzzworthy Cliffjumper Cup and B127. It's just a little disappointing to me, because Studio Series, aside from a lot of Masterpiece, MPM, and third-party stuff, is sort of my main Transformers thing at this point, and first 2 years, great, but pretty much since 2020, everything's just been so iffy with it, and just seeming like it's becoming a little too reliant on G1 as well, like with just about everything in the franchise nowadays. It's disappointing to see what's happened to it, especially because it seemed like it was announced as a big thing, a lot of fans loved it, it's going strong, and now Studio Series 86 stuff will be announced just fine with a lot of excitement behind it, but it seems like, especially again, the Michael Bay stuff just doesn't really get the same attention, unfortunately. It almost feels like they're just kind of doing it now just because they have to, just out of an obligation more than anything else. But what do you think has happened with Studio Series? Am I overthinking it? Are other fans overthinking it? Because I'm not the only one that's had these thoughts. If you're on some of the forums, I've seen plenty of other people say pretty similar things. What do you hope to see from Studio Series in the future? Yeah, let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. And if you like what I do, please subscribe if you haven't already. This is Joseph from Talon Productions. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.